Bhagalamukhi. This is the 6th recording in the Dasa Mahavidyas series on the goddess Bhagalamukhi. To skip the introduction, please go 2 minutes into the recording. If you find the perspective on Bhagalamukhi given here helpful, please help spreading this information by liking this recording. To understand the Kundalini process, it may be easiest to look at the symbology of the Dasa 10 Mahavidyas, great wisdoms. Dasa Mahavidyas are a group of goddesses from the Indian Tantric tradition. The Dasa Mahavidyas are Kali, Tara, Tripurasundari, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Dhumavati, Bhagalamukhi, Matangi, and Kamala. I will here speak about Bhagalamukhi. I will speak from what is publicly known from academic research and people from living goddess traditions having been allowed to share some of the oral tradition. I will also be adding my own unique understanding of her symbology. My main contribution is connecting the Dasa Mahavidyas with the 6th Chakra system, originated in the Kumbhaka school of Tantra in a unique and comprehensive way. My own contributions will be posed as propositions. The information given here is from my book, Kundalini, A Baptism on Fire, The Journey of the Mystic, published in 2024, copyright by Maria Vyasa. Bhagalamukhi is connected to stopping and stilling. In one of her origin myths, she is brought forth from the goddess Tripurasundari, described in another recording as the god Vishnu does austerities by a sacred pond to stop a storm, threatening to destroy the whole world. The pond where Bhagalamukhi appeared, named Haridra, turmeric, might be the reason for her association with the color yellow, but it might also be connected to Vishnu, who is associated with the color yellow. However, in this myth, the color yellow seems connected to the power of stopping or stilling. Bhagalamukhi is said to be the giver of Vac Siddhi, the power of manifestation by speech, and to be the one who takes it away. In one of her myths, she stops a demon who has gotten Vac Siddhi by grasping his tongue. In this form, Bhagalamukhi can be understood as the one who stops the misuse of the power of manifestation. The yogic practice of breath retention, Kumbhaka, can be seen as associated with Bhagalamukhi as a practice of stopping or holding. It is also a practice of internalizing the energy. Bhagalamukhi is said to be the first in the army of Tripurasundari. Tripurasundari is connected to Ichcha Shakti and therefore to Sushumna, the central energy channel. Bhagalamukhi being the first in the army of Tripurasundari, I suggest, symbolizes that Bhagalamukhi as Kumbhaka is the coming together of the 5 breaths, Panchavayus, the 5 pranas, energies of the body, in the Kanda navel area, and the start of the rising of Kundalini through Sushumna. In another of her origin myths, Bhagalamukhi is said to have been created when Sati swallowed Shiva. The smoke became the goddess Dhumavati. The goddess swallowing Shiva became known as Bhagalamukhi, crane-faced, as she swallowed him whole like a crane. Shiva cursed her, as well as Dhumavati, to be widows, meaning without him. Bhagalamukhi, as a state, without contact with and separated from Source Light of Consciousness, Shiva, is said to lead us to being drawn in and paralyzed by the world, the manifest. As such, I suggest she might be understood as the projection of the light of consciousness into a world. Her possible connection to prana fits well with this, since prana is the most subtle manifestation of the non-physical. This might be why her shadow side is the ability to paralyze motion, initiative, and thought, all regulated by prana. If the connection to Kumbhaka is correct, Bhagalamukhi, I suggest, may be associated with Manipura Chakra in the navel area, Kanda, where the breath is held and all the pranas of the body are held together in Kumbhaka, breath pause. The pranas of the in-breath and the out-breath are said to be the moon and the sun. Manipura is said to shine from the light of the sun and moon as jewels, mani, jewel, pura, city or place, which also might explain the color of Bhagalamukhi. If we look at this idea, then the myth when Sati burns herself up in or at the place of the sacrificial fire might take on a related meaning. In this myth, Sati, representing the goddess or Shakti principle, and Shiva, representing source, light of consciousness, are the only ones not invited to the fire sacrifice of Daksha, Sati's father. This fire ritual was meant to establish the sacrificial ritual and all the gods' roles in it. The fire ritual in India is as old as the oldest of the Vedas, and its practice was the most important spiritual practice in India, as in many other places of the world. This upsets Sati so much that in one version of the myth, she burns herself up by her inner heat, tapas. Tapas in the tantric tradition was linked to the heat of the life force, prana. Before the advent of the tantric tradition, the religious practices in India had become more and more internalized during many hundreds of years, but the practice of the outer fire ritual conducted by the priests, Brahmins, was still very prevalent. This myth might be understood as an internalization of the Vedic fire ritual in tantric tradition, meaning the outer fire ritual became an inner fire ritual, symbolized by Sati burning herself up using her inner heat of life force. Bhagalamukhi could as such be understood as the fire, meaning the concentrated energy of Kundalini, generated in the navel area by holding breath retention, Kumbhaka, of the breaths, pranas, of moon and sun, together with the rest of the pranas of the body. If you want to hear more about the other 9 Dasa Mahavidyas, please see the other recordings under the heading Dasa Mahavidyas. If you have any more questions on the symbology of Bhagalamukhi in the Dasa Mahavidya system, please post your questions below. If you found this recording helpful, please help others find this channel by liking this recording.